My name is John Van Hout, and this is my beautiful wife, Kathy. Back in 2009, we after being married for 19 years, we split up, and there was just so much fighting, so much bitterness, so much resentment, so much anger, and that we were doing everything on our own strength. We were out of fellowship with God. We were out of fellowship with other believers, and just broken. We were just broken, trying to do things on our own strength, and we just took it out on each other, and we split apart. And I moved out. Tried to be civil to each other for the kids, but it was very hard on me. It was very hard on Kathy, and extremely hard on the children. And it was just very, very tough few months. And then we managed civil to each other long enough that we thought maybe we could get back together. And but then all the same, again, we weren't doing it on our own. We were doing it on our own strength, not relying on God, and we were still broken and hurt, and still had all those resentments, and we ended up splitting up again. And this time Kathy moved out, and it was extremely hard again on the children, and really hard on both of us. And we were angry, broken, and resentful, and
we basically hated each other.
Yeah.
It was to the point where John and I could not even be in the same room together. We could not hold down a conversation without screaming.
Everything was a fight.
We couldn't talk anymore. We couldn't communicate whatsoever. I could not stand being in the same room with them. I couldn't stand to look at them. My heart and my everything was just so full of anger.
We were very bitter and
Yes.
resentful towards each other.
Yeah. And Greg told us about love and respect, and I made sure that John signed first, and he did. So
I signed up for it.
And so we decided to go, and it was even hard to even walk into that class because there was so much hate. And we did it though, and we realized then we had to do things God's way. Mm-hmm. We could not do it Kathy's way or John's way anymore. We tried for almost 22 years, and it got us to the point where we hated each other. And now it's obviously things have changed because we're sitting here doing an interview about marriage, and
Back together, of course.
we're back together, and I've been home for 7 months now.
We go to church together now.
Yep. People hopefully know that we're married now. Before, they didn't even know that we were married. They didn't know that John was married. He'd be on one side of the church, and
Kathy'd be on the other side of the church.
and that's kind of how we just.
That's kind of how our lives were.
Yes.
Kathy lived at her place, I lived at my place, and the kids took turns back and forth, and I went to church, I went in my corner, Kathy went to church, and she went in her corner. And
The thing I think with today's marriage is that it's all I, and it just can't be that way. It just has to be God first. He has to be the number one guy, and that's all there is to it. Your marriage will not work without God first.
Right.
I take no credit whatsoever. Zero credit. It's all to God. If people weren't praying for us and loving on us, and
If God was not in the middle of this marriage.
we would not be together right now. I truly believe with all my heart we would have been divorced, and it would not have been good. So I love God. If your marriage is in trouble, if you're in trouble, I just pray that you just give God a shot and
Do things God's way.
yeah, totally do things God's way.
God-
Find somebody to root for you and to pray for you, and
God knows how to do marriage.
yeah.
He ordained it, He planned it, and He knows how to make it work.